One Fight Night 13, Grigorian versus Allazov is upon us, and now it's time for me to break down every single fight, from the first bout on the lead card all the way up to the main event. Let's go through it. First off, there is a bantamweight MMA contest between Yanlo Marcinkiov from the Philippines and Iko Orhil from Mongolia. This is a prospect in the making in Mark Salhio. I like Mark for this one. Both these guys have wrestling heavy styles. I just believe that Sanhio has been taking on more legit competition, and I think he's also a better scrambler overall. Orhil has actually been fighting, I would argue, weaker competition compared to Sarhijo, and I don't believe that he's going to be able to out-scramble him in the wrestling exchanges. So I'll have Sanhio taking on, having another incredible performance here, getting his fourth straight victory in one, and I'll have him taking a third round submission, wearing down Orhil and eventually getting the submission. After that, there's a heavyweight clash between Airaj Azipor and Ahmed Kleinach. Azipor just got floored by Roman quickly in one of the fights of the year in the heavyweight Grand Prix final. Ahmed beat Bruno Chavez back in November, and for this fight, I really like Azipor, man. I mean, Kleinach, his biggest win is over Bruno Chavez, and it was not the most impressive performance out there. I mean, just comparing the performances that both these two had against them, Azipor dominated Chavez. He was just being his silly self, waving to Chatri in the middle of the fight. Meanwhile, Ahmed pretty much gassed out in the third round, and arguably Chavez took that round as well. I don't trust his cardio in this fight. Azipor is just a far more well-rounded kickboxer. His leg kicks are sensational. He's got a lot of power behind him. And when he chooses to be more technical, he's actually quite a talented fighter. He can get really wild, though, swinging overhands, and though those make for exciting fights, and it does give him a higher opportunity to get that knockout, it also leaves him open. However, Ahmed is not a very big heavyweight. He's in that awkward stage of being too big to cut down to 225, but also being 20 pounds lighter than a lot of these heavyweight guys. He doesn't really have that knockout power that maybe a Guto Inasante might have, that would make Azipor a little bit more worrisome about being so aggressive. I have Azipor piecing up Ahmed Klein with those leg kicks repeatedly and earning a nice little decision victory for himself. After that, Ilyas Mahmoudi takes on Edgar Tabares in a flyweight Muay Thai contest. This is Mahmoudi's long-awaited return to action after 2 years. Edgar Tabares is making a quick turnaround after getting floored by Rotang. And for this fight, I really think Mahmoudi should have it. He is a Venom Muay Thai guy, and those guys just are so problematic to so many different types of styles. Give him so many different looks, lots of leg kicks, lots of push kicks to the body. His boxing combination is solid. That offensive pressure of his is going to be debilitating to a lot of different fighters. Tabares, he has those leg kicks, and there are going to be there for against Mahmoudi, because Mahmoudi does not do a great job of checking. That's just a problem with that entire camp. However, he is pretty just stagnant on the feet, more flat-footed than I would like. And when we're fighting a guy like Mahmoudi, you just can't be that way, especially since, in one, being an offensive fighter is rewarded often. And if he's constantly getting put on the back foot, having to defend those kicks and those boxing combinations, I think it's going to be a problematic fight for Tabares. I also don't like the fact that he got floored by Rotang less than 3 months ago. This just seems like a very quick turnaround for such a devastating knockout loss. I'm not sure how his chin is going to recover from this. There are questions about Mahmoudi's ring rust. It has been a while, but he is an extremely talented fighter, arguably beat Mongolpek the last time out, so I will have him winning here. It's just the output is just going to be too much for Tabares to handle, and he's not going to be able to land those same shots he did against Rotang. So I'll have Mahmoudi taking a decision. A heavyweight banger up next as Marcus Almeida takes on Luk. This is going to be a fun one. You have Almeida, who is one of the greatest BJJ practitioners of all time, undefeated in MMA thus far, has only observed a few significant strikes. It looked sensational against Kirill Groshenko last time out about a year ago. Umar Kane, who bounced back from his first career defeat with 2 straight victories. This is his first fight since December, and he's got excellent offensive wrestling. I'm going to be honest, this is going to be a really tough fight for Kane. He is pretty reckless on the feet, and he has a terrible gas tank, if we're all being honest, especially as the fight progresses. He just lowers his hands, and his technique, especially pertaining to the striking, just declines as the fight progresses. Almeida is going to be dangerous everywhere for him. He's going to need to be very careful about how he shoots his takedowns in, because Almeida is going to be able to scramble with him because he is, again, maybe one of the best heavyweight jiu-jitsu practitioners of all time. So, and Kane, the problem with him is he is just so stagnant on the ground. He's okay with just lying on top of his opponent like a wet blanket, body head until the round ends. And BUCHECHA is not going to be like, yes sir, and he's not just going to sit there and take it. He's going to go for arm bars. He's going to go for triangle chokes, and that's just going to debilitate Kane's ability to consistently go for the submissions in this fight. I just overall don't like Kane's ability to wrestle, and especially as it pertains to MMA, since Suarez, a guy with only 3 professional fights, who was 40 pounds less than him, was able to out-scramble him at spots in their fights. And I just don't imagine that Almeida, someone who is a levels above Suarez in wrestling and overall scrambling ability, someone who is the same size as Kane and might even be a little bit bigger on fight night, is going to be able to just consistently out-scramble Kane and get a submission win here. I'll have Almeida taking a first-round sub. Anna JarooNsak versus Christina Moraes. When this fight first got announced, I went with JarooNsak right out of the gate. I just did not believe that Moraes would be able to beat her. JarooNsak is just significantly larger than her. Then I remembered that JarooNsak lost a kickboxing fight to Stamp Fairtex on about a day's notice when Stamp was fighting a division below her and in a different sport. I know it was a mixed rules bout, but she was focusing more on MMA, and she lost the fight. It was close, but Stamp has never been that good of a kickboxer in the first place, so the fact that she lost to her there just completely makes me lose confidence in her ability to win this fight. Moraes is a very legit kickboxer. She's beaten tons of high-level opponents. She's an ISK world champion. JarooNsak is just a little too aggressive for my liking, and that aggression is just flat-out reckless, as you saw in the Stamp fight. She hasn't really gotten that boxing defense down to a T yet. She will have a training camp for it, so hopefully she ironed it out. But she's also extremely chinny. The fact that old woman Barbie was able to hurt her on the feet and almost get a 10-8 round off of me just does not give me much confidence in her for this fight. So I'll have Morales. I think that she'll just find continuously openings against JarooNsak and take a nice decision victory here. Former champ, #1 contender John Lineker is taking on the fighting god Kim Jae-woong. This fight's going to be crazy. Both of these guys have heavy hands and love to brawl. They may not be the most technical fighters out there, but they just have that crazy ability to knock the other person out. There's no way this fight goes past the first round. I do have faith in Lineker to get this done. His offensive wrestling is going to put a lot of pressure on Kim, and Kim has shown a propensity to not have a lot of power off of that back foot, and that's going to be debilitating for him in this fight. Lineker is just going to push him into a phone booth and consistently have the two brawl. Lineker also mixes it up better. He sets up his hooks to the head by mixing it to the body persistently throughout the fight. And against Kim, who's extremely reliant on that right hand, that's just going to be very dangerous for him throughout this contest, as those body shots will always be open for Lineker to take advantage of. It does worry me about Lineker's chin, the fact that old man Bibiano was able to floor him. However, Bibiano was more than likely on the sauce then, so that can be excused. However, he did take a ton of damage against Andrade in their last fight. It's a relatively quick turnaround, about 6 months, so I am wondering how his chin's going to recover from that, because Kim can definitely knock him out if he gets 1 or 2 shots on him. But I am going to lean Lineker for this one. I do believe he has higher technical ability. He's going to be putting Kim on the back foot. This fight, I won't be surprised if both men get knocked down at least once. However, Lineker is going to wear him out, constantly working that body, and eventually Kim's going to drop his guard, and John Lineker is going to consistently land those hooks on the chin, and that'll be over. I'll have John Lineker via first-round knock. Featherweight kickboxing, as Tawanchai, the reigning featherweight Muay Thai champion, makes his debut in kickboxing against David Kiria, who was a semifinalist in the featherweight kickboxing Grand Prix last year. This is going to be a tough one for Kiria, man, because this is the 3rd straight time in he's fighting a lengthy distance kickboxer, and I don't believe the result's going to change that much. Tawanchai is far less experienced in kickboxing as opposed to Sidichai, who had a decorated career, and Butasa, who was doing kickboxing his whole life. However, Tawanchai doesn't have to adjust a whole lot to his style, especially since one is a lot more lenient about their kickboxing rules as it pertains to clinching. I do believe that TAWANCHAI is more than likely going to just push Kikiri away, work those leg kicks to the body, to the legs, to the head, proficiently throughout the fight. He is going to have to worry about Kyrgia. Kyrgia's got a real chance here at getting a knockout win, especially since Kyrgia is one of the best pure boxers in the entire division. I mean, the way that he was able to like unpeel Enrico Kell's shell and knock him out in the first round was insane. And since TAWANCHAI's boxing defense is not entirely there, it's going to be a dangerous proclamation in this fight. He's going to need to stick Kyrgia away at a distance and just not engage with him very much, if at all, in the boxing exchanges here. It is going to be a tough one. I am going to lean TAWANCHAI. He should get a decisive decision victory here, but I could definitely see a way in which Kyrgia can pull off the upset. The co-main event is a flyweight submission grappling contest between Mikey Musumeci and Jared Brooks. Not a whole lot I can say here, honestly. I mean, Brooks is the reigning strawweight MMA champion. He's got good offensive wrestling, decent jiu-jitsu for the division, but he's taking on a world champion jiu-jitsu guy in his sport, a weight division above where Brooks normally competes at. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can go into here. Mikey's going to destroy him on the mats. He's going to just grind him out and get a pretty easy submission victory here. I really wish that both of these guys would be defending against actual contenders. Like, Brooks has like 3 different guys he can fight. Mikey, they just signed 3 different flyweight grapplers he can take on, but instead, we're just getting this one. So what, I guess. Brooks is going to get destroyed. Finally, in the main event, Allazov will take on Marat Grigorian for the featherweight kickboxing title. This one's going to be a banger. Grigorian's coming off of a firefight win over Tayfun Özkan, which was a sleeper fight of the year last year. Allazov has just been knocking out everyone recently, including his incredible knockout over Superbone, which was one of the best upsets I've seen in recent memory. Nobody was really giving him a shot there. And this fight is going to be tough for both gentlemen. It's going to be an all-out war. They both have high outputs, and they absorb a lot of strikes. Both of these men's chins are going to be consistently tested throughout the 25 minutes, if it goes that far. Allazov has a lot more of a lengthier style, moves around a lot more in the fight. Lots of lateral movement as he blitzes in with those nice counter hooks and right straights. Grigorian is an Armenian tank. His chin is made out of pure granite. His boxing defense is pretty solid for the division. However, he is going to need to be careful, as Allazov should be consistently landing on him throughout the fight. Allazov needs to make Grigorian pay by using a lot of head kicks. The speed in which he can get those head kicks done are sensational, and Grigorian has not had to deal with head kicks a lot in his recent fight against Tayfun Özkan. And if he's constantly worried about those head kicks, he'll be more susceptible to a lot of Allazov's power punches. The deciding factor for me in my prediction is Allazov's cardio, and I just do not trust it in this fight against Grigorian, because he has been proven that those first 2 rounds he is sensational in. However, in recent memory, once you get into that 3rd, 4th, 5th round, he really starts to stagnate. And against a guy like Grigorian, that's the style that he loves to utilize. He'll take those first 2 rounds off a little bit. He'll certainly land a significant amount of shots, but he'll let his opponent gas out, and I think he'll do it against Allazov. I was watching his fight against Özkan, and with practically every combination, he finished with a leg kick. And he loves to work the body as well. And for Allazov, someone who already has cardio problems, if your legs are constantly getting worked out, if your body is constantly getting worked out, that makes the issues of maintaining a 5-round pace even more strenuous for you. And because of Allazov's wide stance, those leg kicks are just going to be there for the kicking. So for a prediction, I am going to lean Grigorian. I'm going to have him surviving an early barrage and then take over in the 3rd and 4th rounds. Maybe even get a 5th round finish if Allazov's cardio is just really depleted by that point. However, I do believe Allazov is tough enough to make it to a decision. So I will have Grigorian taking a decision, and we'll have a new featherweight kickboxing champion before the weekend is over. With that, guys, those are all my predictions. The fight I'm most looking forward to is definitely that main event. It's just going to be so fun to watch. And the most important fighter to look out for on the card, I would say Mark Chingiz. He is such an incredible prospect, so young and only 21 years old, and he's got so much time left in the sport. I wouldn't be surprised if he can continue this trajectory of consistently fighting higher level guys. Within 3 years, he might be in the top 5, if not being a champion. So with that, those are all my predictions, guys. Thank you all for watching so much. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Comment your own predictions down below. This is Shadow TV Productions. Thank you so much for watching. Have an excellent day. I'm out.